Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Pella Sports. Today, we have seen one of the craziest things in football. We have seen one of the craziest, I repeat, situations in football. You get me? What we saw today, what we witnessed today when it comes to the Premier League is absolutely ludicrous. It's crazy work. It is crazy work. And that's what we are going to talk about. We are going to start from Bournemouth to Everton. In fact, no, let's not even start with Bournemouth and Everton. Let's start with the most craziest of games, which is Manchester City versus Fulham. And then we will go into the other situations. But without further ado, we will start with Manchester City. We would look at Fulham's game. We will then move to Tottenham Hotspur. And then we will go to Newcastle versus Tottenham, because trust me when I say this game was a lot. This game right here was a lot. It was crazy to think about. It's crazy to even situate. But guess what? We're going to talk about it here on Pillar Sports. So without further ado, guys, let's get this party started. Let's go. Okay, welcome back to Pillar Sports. What we are doing today is that we got to talk about it. You get me? We have to talk about it. And as we are talking about it, we have to enjoy what we got to see. We have to enjoy what we got to see, because don't get me wrong, it's crazy. City versus Fulham. I thought this game was going to be a breeze for City. I thought it was going to be a breeze for City. Of course, it was a Craven Cottage. So we know that that's not an easy place to go. We know for sure. We know for sure, but that's not an easy place to go whatsoever. And that right there is what makes this even more exciting. Because what we got to see, what we got to experience, what we got to just bathe in was truly one of the craziest games I've ever seen. In fact, don't get me wrong, apart from apart from Everton versus Manchester United before Sir Alex retired, this arguably is one of the craziest game. And we're going to be looking at it, talking about it, and then we're also going to look at what fans has to say about it too, because you know what we do here on Pillar Sports. So guys, get strapped and let's talk about the game of football. So without further ado, it is Manchester City versus Fulham. Crazy game, by the way. Crazy game. All right, let's get this. So first things first, with this particular game, right? With this particular game, you had to understand the way Manchester City started. It was so blistering, and you can absolutely see here, it was just City everywhere in the first 20 minutes. City everywhere in the first 20 minutes. And then, of course, one thing is for sure, Fulham are a good side. Let's give it to them. Fulham are a good side. They are a really good side. But when I'm telling you that this game was every shot of crazy, I need you guys to look at this top start right here. Look at the top start, and you would understand what I'm talking about in this situation. You are looking at 57% to Manchester City's 43%. Is that not crazy to think about? Is that not crazy that Pep Guardiola's team is losing on possession to Fulham? Now, don't get me wrong. The bulk of Fulham stats came from after they had scored their fourth goal. The bulk of it came from after they scored their fourth goal. So you have to understand that City were perplexed on what to do. They literally dropped 8 to 10 yards in terms of their defensive line. They were in the throat of Donnarumma. That's how crazy it was. And then you look at the expected goals for Fulham, 0.90. That basically means They're going to score 1 goal today. Let's get to the chat. Soccer Gamer says Fulham was so close. It was a good game. It definitely was. It was one of the best games I've seen in the Premier League so far. It was one of the best games I have seen in the Premier League so far. EPL madness. Discuss Fulham's close game. Of course, you look at this situation, you're looking at the expected goals for Manchester City. You have 2.21 goals. That's crazy. 2.21 goals for Manchester City. You get me? But then you look at the total shots. Fulham were absolutely firing with 12 and Man City 11. Big chances. City created more, of course. But of course, you look at the way the events happened. It started really quickly. It's the craziest part. And don't get me wrong, I saw Erling Haaland's goal. I saw Tijani Reinder's goal. And the moment I saw 2-0, I was like, okay, City are on fire. I don't need to watch this game anymore. I switched over to the Tottenham versus Newcastle game. All of a sudden, I just kept on seeing notifications upon notifications. You understand? Phil Foden scored and I was like, yeah, it's over for them. You get me? When he scored, I was like, okay, I don't think there's any opportunity for them to come back in this situation. But that was not the case because Emil Smith-Rowe comes back and scores. Seeing and notifications like, upon notifications. What in the flipping world? Phil Foden scored and I was like, yeah, it's over for them. Someone that I never expect. When he scored, I was like, okay, I don't think there's any opportunity for them to come back in this situation. I'm like, I don't know what is going on. That was not the case because Emil Smith-Rowe comes back all of a big sudden and scores. Smith-Rowe seeing notifications upon notifications. What in the flipping world? Phil Foden scored and I was like, yeah, it's over for them. I've never seen situations like that. He does a big one because he comes on and he scores. He scores for Fulham. That kickstarts every single thing. It kickstarts everything for Fulham in this situation. And when you're talking about it kickstarting it, Fulham and Marco Silva understood the language because Kenny Tete was just being ransacked. He was being ransacked left and right. There was no situation where Kenny Tete had an opportunity in this game. It was not possible. All of a sudden, he realized in the second half, I need to bring Castante on. And I believe that changed everything. Okay, KK says, I missed the City game because I was watching the Barca game. How did the Barca, I know Barca won, but I don't know what they won by. So let me know in the chat, guys. Let me know in the chat what Barca won by. But it was crazy to think about, guys. Crazy. I've never seen this kind of game because when you look at what happened, Barca won 3-1. That's good. They're still top of La Liga. They brought on Castagna and they brought on Samuel Chukwueze and took off Zaza Lukic. So they took out a defensive midfielder and a right back and brought Castagna, that is also technically a right back, but an attacking one, and brought in Samuel Chukwueze. And all of a sudden, things changed. And this was the best game I have seen Samuel Chukwueze play for Fulham. Well, he played very well last game against, if I'm not mistaken, Tottenham Hotspur. Real baller was good, man. If I'm not mistaken, Tottenham Hotspur. Mari, what's up, Mari? After Atletico scored, Barca dominated, should have won 4 or 5-1, but won 3-1. Okay, that's good. I did not even know it was that big of a game. I could have watched that game. But this game right here, I'm glad I did not miss it. Because when I saw that Smith-Rowe scored, and the next thing you see, Fulham comes back and is pushing City to the furthest of points. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? But Phil Foden did not let it get to him. He scores. And of course, Sanderberg scores an on goal. And I'm like, okay, 5-1. This is game over. This is game over. But Samuel Chukwueze had other plans. Samuel Chukwueze and Iwobi had other plans because in 2 minutes, separation. In just 2 minutes of Sanderberg scoring, Iwobi goes on and scores a goal, making it 5-2. And that's where you realized, okay, this can get interesting. This right here can get interesting. You understand? Soccer Gamer says, I know, right, they played amazing. I gotta also go watch that Barcelona game. I haven't watched it. But one thing was so special about this game was that Chukwueze came into the situation and started running, that you could literally even see. You could see the shock. You could see the shock in Pep Guardiola's face. You could see the shock in Pep Guardiola's face. I've never seen that. Pep was absolutely shocked. He was shell-shocked on how his team was literally giving opportunities upon opportunities. Because what you saw was Chukwueze getting direct. He was moving direct. He was not beating around the bush. He was going face first at City players. He scores his first goal. And then you start seeing shocker. You start seeing a shock. Understanding that this is 5-3. Understanding that this right here is 5-3. Marco Silva absolutely decides, let's throw the kitchen sink. He's now throwing attackers upon attackers because he brought on Joshua King. And I'm like, okay, this game just got interesting. Joshua King comes in. Samuel Chukwueze bangs in a second goal. This is the first time he's scoring two. Bear in mind, Samuel Chukwueze last season had about 33 games at AC Milan and scored only 3 goals and 3 assists. Samuel Chukwueze in the Premier League has now gotten 2 goals, right, and 4 assists. In how many games? That's just impressive to me. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't tell me otherwise. And you could literally see, right? Pep Guardiola had no answer for Samuel Chukwueze. Had no answer whatsoever. And that's when I realized, I was like, oh my God. I think we have all figured out what style of player is the antidote to Pep Guardiola's teams. Someone that would fire directly, also very skillful, also very technical. This was 4-5. 5-4 to City. 5-4 to City. And the funny thing about this situation, if they gave them a little bit more time, this would have been 5-5 because they got an opportunity. Joshua King got an opportunity that was absolutely tailor-made. It was going into the net, but of course, Ruben Diaz clears it out. If that game had gotten to 5-5, it would have been over. I wouldn't even want, it would have been one of the worst games for Pep Guardiola ever. You know, everybody spoke about this resurgence that we are seeing with, what they call him, with Manchester City. We all saw the resurgence. We were all talking about the resurgence about Manchester City. Bro, the old Manchester City would never do this. Would never allow somebody come back from 5-1 to get to 5-4. 5-4 against Gigi Donnarumma. 4 goals against Donnarumma in quick successions. That is crazy work. But this was one of the best games that I've seen. Marco Silva, yes, his name is Marco Silva, if I'm not mistaken. He absolutely threw the kitchen sink. Now, it did not work, but the only reason it didn't work was about quality at the final third. Because opportunities were there. It was there for Raúl Jimenez. Opportunities were there for Raúl Jimenez. Sanderberg absolutely played he played better in the second half. He played better in the second half, but it was not the way that Sanderberg always plays. You understand? It wasn't in the way. Anthony says, Man United. Hello. United. Mari says, okay, I see why. Why do you see why? What happened? Um, Say Atletico Madrid need a new manager. Simeone's time is running out. Pilar, I got a question. Okay, and ask the question. This is an interactive live. By the way, you guys are also live on YouTube, so make sure you guys drop a follow, drop a subscribe. Jesus, I don't know how to get my words out today. Hit that subscribe button so you guys can tell YouTube that you absolutely love what we are doing here at Pillar Sports. Guys, keep going. Soccer Gamer says Romero shocked Newcastle. It should not be a penalty for them. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about Newcastle game. So just keep on asking the questions. We're going to talk. We're going to get to Newcastle game. Soccer Gamer says tomorrow is going to be a good game. Sunderland is going to be a tough side to play. I think Liverpool actually loses the game to Sunderland. I think they lose the game to Sunderland. The real baller says, if Xavi Alonso gets sacked, who do you think should manage them? I think Como manager or Klopp. Oh my God. One thing is for sure, I do not believe Cesc Fabregas is ready to manage Real Madrid. You understand? I do not believe at all that Cesc Fabregas is ready to manage Real Madrid. It is absolutely a colossal of a job. You understand? It's a colossal of a job. Those jobs don't go to any other person. You don't go to any other willy-nilly. Cesc Fabregas is still cutting his teeth when it comes to managerial situations. You understand? He's literally, don't get me wrong, his style of play is ridiculously good. His style of play is ridiculously good and is so entertaining. He's that progressive of a manager that you understand that the dude doesn't care. He doesn't care about you staying in this pocket, you staying in this pocket. He wants everybody to move forward. And that is his game. Move forward, and move forward. He doesn't want any other situation but that. And for Real Madrid, it's going to be a good situation. It's going to be fun to watch. But let's give Xavi Alonso a lot of time. Let's give him some time, man. I know Real Madrid don't give people time. Don't get me wrong. You have to win now and you have to win right away. But if they sack Xavi Alonso, that would absolutely be disgusting in my mind. See, I think Fabregas can develop Adargula and develop Garcia and Endrick. Well, if he wants to develop them, they should go to Como. He can, don't get me wrong, but they should go to Como. It's a sad state of affairs. In fact, we are going to talk about it. But let's finish Manchester City and let's pivot right now, right? Let's pivot to this cat because I think he needs a section of his own, right? He needs a section of his own. And his name is Erling Brandt Haaland. You get me? Erling Brandt Haaland. This dude right here. I've not seen a player like this dude. I honestly haven't. 111 games and he has scored 100 goals. Do you guys understand how crazy that is? 111 games and Erling Brandt Haaland has scored 100 goals. This is the fastest. You get me? This is the fastest that anybody has been able to get to 100 goals. A century of goals in the Premier League. It is crazy to think about. In fact, let's see if we can find let's see if we can find what he has done. Because we need to understand, right? This kid, Erling Haaland, and I call him a kid not because he's younger or he's less than 18. I call him a kid because, bro, he is still a young player. He is still a young player. It is mind-blowing to think about. He's still a young player and he's doing these things already. This dude, I don't even think we have seen his prime yet. That's how crazy Erling Haaland is. I don't think we have seen his prime yet. It's the craziest thing ever. Okay, you see in this situation here, he sees, right? It says here, really simple in this situation. He says, look at this. Fastest to 100 Premier League goals. Erling Haaland, 111. Alan Shearer, 124. This guy doubled plus change the amount of time that he did this. In terms of about 10, bro, it's remarkable. I don't know who has done this. I honestly don't know who has done this other than this kid. I don't know who has done it. Dude is a goal machine in every sense of the word. Every sense. Every sense of the freaking word. This dude is a goal machine. And my God, I wish we had him at Manchester United. I wish we had him at Manchester United. I really do. Jeremy Doku is so good. Yes, you're absolutely right. Mari says, can we please talk about the underrated or how underrated Reinders is? Oh, of course. Johnny Reinders. Johnny Reinders. This is another talented footballer. You understand? Talented footballer. Let's see what he did today. He had 1 goal, 0 assists, 1 total shot on goal. But in terms of that situation, you're looking at 86% of passing accuracy, 1 chance created, an expected goal of 0.62. It's crazy. Dude is amazing. Got 1 shot on target and 1 shot try, 100%. Touches about 39. I believe that he should be going higher in terms of the touches. That's my opinion, because for Manchester City, I know that Manchester City has changed their style of play. They have changed it in such a huge manner, right? That it is truly a total different side. You understand? It is truly a total different side. It feels more, if I can even show you guys, right? Let me see if I can get like a tactics board to show you guys. Because one thing that I've seen is that Manchester City are playing more focused on like direct. They're focused on direct football players. They're focused on direct situations. You understand? They're focused on direct situations, and it makes sense because of who they have. It makes absolute sense. You understand? It makes so much sense. I can't use this tactics board. Everything in this tactics board is just absolute, but it's trash. Let's see. Okay, let's see if we can use JLA tactic board. Because I think I might have to just make it, because tactic boards are so scarce for some reason. JLA tactic board. Guys, bear with me. I never thought I was actually going to be doing the tactics board thingy. But I just want to show you guys a little bit of what I'm talking about here. Please don't make me sign up for anything. Oh my God. All right. Um, let's see. I'm gonna make it to City, right? I'm gonna make it to City. Premier League. And move. Premier. They do the custom. Because one thing we gotta say though is it's like City have absolutely dominated in this style. Well, they're trying to anyway. They're trying to dominate in this style, and we need to give them credit for it. We need to give them credit for it. Premier League. We need to give them credit for it because it's one of the most beautiful styles of play. It just makes it a lot better in the way they want to play now. It makes it a lot better. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that everything is all good and dandy, but like what we are seeing, what we are able to watch, and what we are enjoying from City is one of the best things I've seen. You understand? Okay, so in this situation, I want you guys to just look at this, right? I want you guys to look at this. This is one thing I'm going to be doing. If you guys want me to continue doing this kind of style, I would do it. So make sure you guys just keep it up and then we'll see it. Of course, this is JLA. So shout out to the YouTuber. I forgot his name, but it's JLA. Anyway, in this situation, what we have seen with Manchester City for the most part, right, is this. We have seen a lot of movement, with Silva going this way. It's literally, it's literally a new style of what they want to do. It's the craziest thing that I've seen. I've never seen this from what do you call his name? From Pep Guardiola. He wants to go vertical. He wants to go vertical. His whole thing about this situation is for him to go vertically. Is that's his whole thing. I want to go vertically. I want to go vertically. That's what he wants to do. You get me? That's what he wants to do. And it's impressive. It's impressive because what we have gotten to see from this guy is that he tries his best to change. He tries his best to change. Every single time that we see him, he tries his best to change and get better. And that is what is so beautiful about it. Like you see Phil Foden getting in this pocket. You see Bernardo Silva absolutely trying to bust the gut. Reinders. And this is the way he's literally working. Of course, we still have the flowing runs of this. We still have the flowing run. So we have that situation. But like this is just a little bit of what they were able to do that I was impressed with. But all of a sudden, this game absolutely changed. The game changed. It totally changed. It totally changed, and I have to give them credit for it. What's his name? Fulham. I have to give them credit. Anyway, let's get into Manchester, not Manchester City, but Newcastle, right? Let's get into Newcastle game. Because this Newcastle's game was so intense. It is one of the craziest games I've seen too. Nobody expected the way this game ended. No one expected this game to end in this manner. Nobody. Nobody expected this game to end in this manner whatsoever. And that's the best part about it. Nobody expected this game to end in this manner. The game absolutely started with Newcastle just dominating everything. They just kept on dominating everything. You saw the physicality, you saw the technical ability, you saw the pace, you saw all those things. But this game was so boring in the first half that there was nothing, absolutely nothing to write home about. They did not have a single shot, if I'm not mistaken. There was nothing to write home about. It was a boring first half. All of a sudden, in the second half, things changed. Things absolutely changed because you wonder what in the world is going on. But things changed. They brought in new players. They brought in players. Bruno Guimaraes came into the team. You understand? Because it was Sandro Tonali that started the game. In fact, that was a shocker to me. That was a shocker because the way they started it with Sandro Tonali, Joelinton, and Miley. Lewis Miley. Don't get me wrong, Lewis Miley is a baller. He's a young baller. We know that for a fact. But to not start Bruno Guimaraes, I don't know whether he was injured or what. But to not start Bruno Guimaraes was such an odd pick for me. But Sandro Tonali goes out. And that was also another shocker to me because I was like, oh, Lewis Miley would go out. But no, Lewis Miley stayed. Right? He stayed in, played the game, and I'm watching this game, I'm like, what in the world is going on here? This game should be interesting. But it's not. It's not. It was absolute boring until the brilliance of Sandro Tonali. until the brilliance of Sandro Tonali. Because Sandro Tonali came into the game, and the moment he came into the game, from a beautiful assist from Voltemade, from a beautiful assist, literally just tapped the ball to Sandro Tonali. And he opened his hips, hitting the ball right one time and getting the ball to the side netting with Vicario in the team, in the post. That was ridiculously good. All of a sudden, you started seeing the game open up. And once the game opened up against Tottenham Hotspur, every single thing is possible. Every single thing is possible. But Tottenham Hotspur were not going into the night without a fight. They were not going into the night without a fight. Because what happened next was Romero, from a beautiful cross from Mohamed Kudus, literally put his life on the line. He put his life on the line because Big Dan Burn was about to kick his head off. And I'm not joking in that situation. He literally, a diving header to get the equalizer. A diving header to get the equalizer. And I was absolutely elated. Elated not because I like Tottenham Hotspur for anything. But bro, you look at the situation. The sliding header. Oh my God. I'm looking for it for you guys. I need to find it. I need to be more prepared when it comes to me doing lives. But I just needed to go live today to show you guys the situation. It was one of the craziest things I've seen. Honestly. The diving header. I want you guys to look at this, right? Look at this right here. This is crazy. Can you guys see what I'm talking about? Big Dan Burn absolutely going. Bear in mind, he had already nodded the ball in this situation. But Big Dan Burn absolutely going in to, this is where the ball is. It's literally a kick kind of situation. It's low to the ground. And this freaking man here, this Argentinian guy, goes in and puts his head over there. I don't think I know anybody that would put his head in that situation. If you know somebody, let me know. But I do not know anybody that will put his head in that situation. Or maybe I almost said Virgil van Dijk. Maybe Nemanja Vidic. Maybe John Terry. Maybe Sergio Ramos. But right there, the caliber of defenders that I just spoke about are the names that this man is in conversations of. We've never seen anything in this situation. You get me? I've never seen it. And bear in mind, this was an equalizer. In what felt like the 90th minute. It wasn't the 90th minute, by the way. But it felt like that. It felt like that. It did. And we have to absolutely say that this is impressive. Because all of a sudden, Newcastle go on and get a penalty. They get a penalty. There's no way. There's no way that this is a penalty. I'm looking for the penalty for you guys. There's no way in my mind that this is a penalty. This is a struggle by both teams. This is a struggle by both players. So how in the world are you giving a penalty for this situation? I don't understand. In my mind, it's never a penalty. You're both struggling. You both get tangled. So why are you giving him a penalty? And he goes to VAR. He goes to VAR. Bear in mind, this is it right here. I don't understand this. This is one of the worst decisions I've seen in a long time. And I believe the referee was Anthony Taylor. But this is one of the worst decisions I have seen in a long time. These are two players that are struggling. It's literally equal. It's equal in what they call it. It's equal in the aggression. It's equal in the struggle. It's equal in them holding themselves. I don't have a better picture, but I want to show you guys just so you understand what is happening. And I don't want to play a video because if I play a video, then it gets strikes out. I get strikes. But look at this. Look right there. Look. This is his hand right here. Right? That's his hand. The other hand is right there under Dan Burn. His head, of course, is in the armpits of Dan Burn. Now, the argument right there is, oh, he wasn't looking at the ball. You don't have to look at the ball in order for you to defend. His job was to make life difficult for Dan Burn without fouling him. And in my mind, he made life difficult for Dan Burn without fouling him. That is right there the most annoying thing about this situation. Because it should never, in my mind, be a penalty. But of course, if there's anything you guys want to know is that when the penalty comes to this kid right here, the dude just knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. Anthony Gordon. He just knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. And of course, he has been struggling with form and injuries of late. Well, he just knows how to put the ball in the back of the net, and that is what he did today. He goes on to score. But one situation is that it's so good to see that he has go on to score this situation, because what happened next? What happened next? You think, oh, they have won the game, no? You think they have won the game because at this point, it's the 90th minute, going on 95th minute. And all of a sudden, Romero turns into R9. He turns into R9 and does that. He turns into R9 and does that. That is crazy. An overhead kick. What is it with overhead kicks in this season? What is it with overhead kicks this season? Because you look at this game. Right here. This is crazy. Just look. Look at the excitement. Look at the excitement in Tottenham Hotspur players after he scores that goal. Look at the excitement. This right there is what it means. Don't get me wrong. This is honestly one of the best moments in what they call it, in his situation. This is one of the best moments in Thomas Frank in Spurs. It means so much to them. Now, don't get me wrong, they have been fighting hell and back with their fans. But what this cat did today, and of course, you know what? He goes on to mock. Bruno Guimaraes. Because we all know, right, that Bruno Guimaraes is the one person that will celebrate with 10 celebrations in one goal. He will do this, he will do this, he will do this, he will jump up, he will do whatever it is. In fact, he went on to hug the kid over there on the sideline. That's Bruno Guimaraes. But guess what? I can do it too. What are we talking about? I can do it too. Can you hear my name? Yes, I can. It was crazy. This was one of the craziest day in Premier League history in my mind. I just knew he was going to score. I just knew he was going to score and scoring from an overhead kick. Oh my God. Bear in mind, this is what we are looking at. This is how far he scored the goal. This right here is how far he scored in the overhead kick. Bear in mind, he was on the floor when that ball went in the air. He was on the floor when that ball went in the air. He goes on, stands up, and does this. He does this. But now look at these players. You see the ball dropping down. Anthony Alanga, Anthony Gordon, Lewis Hall, all ball watching. All ball watching. Yes. Yes, I understand. I understand that it's the last part of the game, is the 90th minute, and you do not expect it to happen. But Christian Romero has just scored. Christian Romero has just scored a diving header and an overhead kick. And an overhead kick. That's not everybody can say they can do that. I've seen a lot of strikers in my day that could not even try it. Talk less of pull it off in a Premier League game. It's crazy to think about. 27 years old with 2 goals for Tottenham, a header and an overhead kick. Yes, it hit the shin, but who cares? It hit his shin. Who flipping cares? Who flipping cares? Because I don't. I don't. Thomas Frank definitely got a break today with this one. He definitely got a break. But let me go watch the Barcelona game and I'll come back to you guys and we'll talk a little bit more about what football and how football is getting so interesting and the madness of football. It's the craziest thing. I think this season is going to be one of the best seasons we have seen in a very long time. So guys, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit that follow button if you're watching us on TikTok. And make sure that you guys turn on your notifications. And let me know what you think in the chat.